So this is the 2024 Chevrolet Trax, and it is quite possibly the best value new car that you can buy anywhere right now. And on top of that, it features a real transmission. No CVT here like you'll find in most of the vehicles at this price point. The Chevrolet Trax starts at $21,495 and can work its way up to $25,000 for the top of the line 2RS and active models like this one here. And this 2RS we'll be looking at today has about $2,000 or so in options as equipped. So we'll go through the exterior, the interior, the powertrain, and of course, we'll take it for a drive. So moving on to the exterior of the new Chevrolet Trax. Well, I think it's a pretty sharp looking vehicle. I quite like what they've done with this, and the front aggressive front end there also falls in line with what you'll find in the rest of Chevy's lineup. The other cool thing is you'll notice the black body cladding, which actually runs around the exterior. That'll help if you ever take this thing off-road, because after all, it does have 7.3 inches of ground clearance, which will give it more ground clearance than most of the vehicles you'll find at this price point, which makes it a little bit more versatile. And those black panels will be cheaper to replace because they're just plastic and you wouldn't have to repaint them like you would the regular body. So that's kind of a nice touch there. Makes it a little bit more usable as a sort of crossover compact SUV. Looking at the front here, we obviously have RS badging as the top of the line model and this nitro yellow metallic paint job, which might not be everybody's favorite color, but it'll certainly make it easy to find in a parking lot. You do get LED daytime running lights here at the top. We do have our headlights here in this separate housing. Then if we take a look at the side, you'll also notice we have these fairly sizable premium wheels. Now, obviously these larger 19-inch wheels will come on the 2RS, but the Trax on the base model starts with 17s. It can work its way up to 18s and then 19s here at the top. The other cool part where we're talking about the wheels and some of the components underneath is you'll notice the disc brakes here in the front. A lot of vehicles at this price point still have drums in the rear, but not here on the Trax. We have disc brakes all around, which is a huge safety benefit and again, more value for the money. As far as the suspension goes, you'll find McPherson in the front, so independent, and then you have a torsion beam axle in the rear, but we do have stabilizer bars, so not the greatest in terms of suspension, but still good value, and it'll be fine for going from A to B. Now, taking a look at the other components here, we do have our heated and power adjustable mirrors. We do have our black roof rails, which will make it so you can put other things up here for camping or even kayaking, whatever the use case is. We do have a moon roof. We do have tinted rear glass and even keyless entry, which is a great feature. If we come around to the rear here, we do have a color match spoiler. And of course, we have a cargo hatch. So this adds to the versatility over some of the other vehicles at the price point, which are sedans. In this case, you can store your camera gear, and it comes with this nice little privacy hatch, but you still get seating for 5 on the inside, which is also very cool. Go ahead and shut that. We get black badging in this case with our RS badging. All in all, just a really cool vehicle with a lot to offer. So let's go ahead and move on to the interior of the Chevy Trax. First glance looks really good. We have this synthetic leather style material. The RS, of course, gets these special seats with the embroidered RS badging in the headrest. Lots of RS, lots of red, of course, to give you that sporty intentions, even though the RS doesn't actually get any real sporting improvements like you'll find in some other models like the Camaro, for example. If we go ahead and hop in here and take a look, some of the other things that the RS benefits from, aside from, again, cool red badging and even the RS badge here on the corner, is the fact that, of course, we get the better technology packages. So that gives you a larger center display here, up from 8 inches in the base model to 11 inches here in the RS. This is definitely worth upgrading to, starting at the LT level. And of course, this also features wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, various vehicle management features as well, and as something that you're going to be interacting with using your navigation features, Bluetooth, etc., all through here. It's nice to have the larger display, which is just going to be a bit easier to see while using your vehicle, because after all, you're going to spend the most time in the interior. And if we take a look in front here as well, this is the driver display. Fairly simple and straightforward, nothing too crazy. Fuel and not a lot to look at, but the simplicity could also be a huge advantage if you don't like messing with your vehicles very much. Now, there are some cool features in the RS trim as well, and that's going to come with the fact that this also has heated seats. Now, these aren't going to be exclusive. It's for both seats in the front here, not exclusive to the RS. We also get a heated steering wheel. You can get them in lower trims as options as well, but it comes standard here in the RS, and it's a great feature to have. We, of course, have some of our driving assists, a flat bottom steering wheel, which looks pretty good with red stitching as well. And then we also have some of our other various controls available here in the driver's steering wheel. We do have our climate controls here in the center, and we do have a nice little storage cubby with some other buttons for our lane keep assist. We have our shifter for our 6-speed automatic transmission, which is nice and clunky, easy to use and put into whatever gear you want. Of course, here is the backup camera setup as well, so you can see that it is nice, and it also leads your steering, which is always nice to have, makes it a little bit easier to park. The cup holders are fixed, but comes with this extra storage center in the middle, which can fit a phone perfectly fine. Electronic parking brake, more storage. Go ahead and open that up, and there's some more storage, although this is mostly plastic here, although it is kind of soft to the touch. The seats are manually adjustable, but it's a pretty good looking interior. I like the way everything presents itself. Nothing fancy going on with the mirror, no auto dimming or anything like that, but it looks pretty good, and I'm generally really impressed. Most importantly, we have to check out the back seat, which this does have. So the overall seating is, of course, 4'5". We hop in the back here, we can see the center seat, and I'm about 6 foot for reference. And you can see that with the seat set up for me in the front, my knees actually still have quite a ways to go before they touch the back of the seat, which means I could sit back here fairly comfortably. You don't think you can fit 3 adults here in the back, but you could certainly fit 4 adults here on the Trax, and they would be perfectly comfortable, probably 3 kids, no problem. And then of course you still have your storage in the back. So the overall impression of the interior is really good, and it feels really spacious, surprisingly, given the size of the vehicle. But after all, this new second generation Trax is a bit bigger than the first Trax. The new Chevrolet Trax features the same engine across the board, regardless of what trim level you go with. So under the hood is an Ecotec turbocharged 1.2-liter inline 3-cylinder motor, rated for 137 horsepower and 162 pound-feet of torque, paired with a Hydromatic 6-speed automatic transmission, sending power to the front wheels. So that's important news there to know that this has a 6-speed automatic transmission, a real torque converter, no CVT here, which is absolutely wonderful news, and it sends power to the front wheels, which means it'll actually get better traction in snowy conditions, unlike rear-wheel drive only models. So that's a pretty versatile feature of the Chevrolet Trax. Now moving on to that power, 137 horsepower is not a lot, and you'll definitely feel it if the vehicle is loaded with people or cargo. And because it weighs a little over 3,000 pounds, the 0 to 60 time is about 8.8 seconds, so not terribly bad, but not great, with a quarter-mile time of 16.8 seconds. But then again, the Trax is not really supposed to be a performance vehicle. The thing it is good at is fuel economy. It features an EPA-rated 28 miles per gallon city, 32 miles per gallon highway, and has a combined rating of 30 miles per gallon, which, with mixed driving here in Phoenix, Arizona, I've gotten well over 30 miles per gallon, so I can say that those numbers are fairly accurate. Now, all of the standard models will have a 14-gallon fuel tank, with the exception of the active trim, which is a little bit smaller, but that means you can have an expected average range of 420 miles, which is absolutely fantastic. And because it's such a small fuel tank of just 14 gallons, it'll never be that expensive to fill. So you'll get fantastic fuel economy. It just might feel a little bit sluggish at times. So what's it like to drive the Chevy Trax? Well, it's a fairly no frills, no luxury experience. The ride's not the smoothest, but it's certainly not bad. I mean, when you consider the price point and things, obviously they give it a cheaper suspension to keep the price lower, which is one of the sacrifices or compromises you'll have to make, but it's generally not bad. The steering isn't anything crazy or interesting, but the general visibility is nice. The seats are comfortable enough. The fact that everything is kind of angled towards the driver is a comfortable experience to be able to use the car easily without putting out any crazy effort. I will say it's a little odd. The knob here is the volume and power control for the center console display is a little out of the way, but all in all, it's not bad. There's also not a ton of noise. I would say the insulation inside the cabin here is actually pretty nice as well. There's just not, you know, an in-depth experience to it. It's not trying to be anything but a functional, you know, nice car, let's say, for the price. We'll get on the freeway here and you can hear a bit of the engine kicking up and a bit of what it sounds like at freeway speeds in terms of the overall noise control. So this is throttle all the way down, just reaching freeway speeds there. So again, not the fastest vehicle, wasn't built to do that, but you'll definitely notice some of the weight transfer. As we get on the freeway, it gets a little bit louder, but with the radio going, I don't think it'll be very noticeable. It's still a fairly quiet vehicle, especially when you consider larger vehicles, SUVs and trucks tend to have a bit more wind noise, just overall road noise. This really isn't a bad experience, and certainly one of the best experiences you can get for the money. So in conclusion, the Chevrolet Trax is by far one of the best value vehicles that you can buy anywhere new right now. Is it perfect? No, it's not. Of course, you'll have to make some compromises at this price point, but it does offer the most value by far. It's not the cheapest. There are cheaper vehicles, but I imagine you'll have to option those up to get them to be more comfortable and usable as well, getting you closer to the starting price of the Chevrolet Trax at $21,495. Now, if you are shopping the Chevrolet Trax, which one should you buy? I don't necessarily think the top of the line 2RS is the best value point. I think it's somewhere in the middle around the LT trim model. That'll get you a lot of the technology packages you'll want to be more comfortable while daily driving your Trax, let's say, and you can always option it up for heated seats or the heated steering wheel and stuff like that if you wanted to from there based on your use case. Now, this makes a fantastic platform. Just the all-around usability of it as an A to B vehicle or whatever you really need to use it for, it's just really impressive that Chevrolet was able to pack so much into this vehicle at this price point. That is going to be the end of the video though, so if you enjoyed it and could hit that like button for me, I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to comment down below and let me know what you think, or if you plan on buying one or already even own one, let me know down below. And of course, if you could get subscribed for more content like this in the future, I'd really appreciate it. With that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.